All right, I'm excited to be back with the Gary, Michael, and Mark show, live from Los Angeles and Miami, coast to coast. I guess starting with Mark, since we can't see you, can just introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Mark Young, and I'm very happy to announce that I am now associated with Sadovnick Partners. And so I'll be partnering with Mark on many different things in the executive search world.
And we're excited about that too. Gary.
My name is Gary Goldfarb. I'm Chief Strategy Officer of Interport Group of Companies, and it's 75 degrees here.
And Michael.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Stark, and I'm the President and CEO of Home Delivery Link, the last mile home delivery service serving the major furniture and retail appliances retailers.
And it's pretty good temperature in LA now too, right?
It is. It's very nice outside.
Cool. Let's start with Mark this time. Talking to a lot of people, they always have unique stories, and I want to know what's the most unique asset, especially from Gary and Mike, that you've seen move maybe from point A to point B. And I'll give you an example. A friend of mine told me that he once, believe it or not, had to travel with a monkey from Miami to Spain, sitting next to him on Iberia Airlines. So, that's what you're competing with in good stories. But let me start with Mark. You're in a different side of the business, executive search. Have you had any unique or challenging or interesting experiences, in your supply chain history?
Yeah, well, probably, Mark, the most interesting. I don't know if it's the most comical because I'm not sure I have a lot of comedy I do in some other fields of search, but not necessarily in logistics or supply chain. But the most challenging was several years ago when KPMG, which was known in the early days as Pete Marwick, engaged me to do a search for a senior partner in their supply chain practice in Chicago. And the interesting thing about that particular search is I had to interview and meet many people from consulting companies because they wanted them out of either a Bain or an A.T. Kearney or a Booz Allen. And so it turned out that one of the finalists was in London, England. And so I had a chance to go to London and interview several supply chain people and found it very interesting. Again, it shows that they didn't care where the person for the supply chain came from as long as they were the best person. And they ultimately hired somebody from Europe. So it was very interesting.
Awesome. How about you, Mike?
Well, I can't think of anything unique that I've moved. Excel had an industrial sector that I really wasn't part of. We would move oil derricks and things like that. But I can relate a story that I found rewarding in that vein that was unique. When I was at Weber Distribution, we implemented an account management process, and one of the biggest accounts we had was a big electronics manufacturer. And we had been really working hard at this account and doing a lot of stuff, not just in helping our business get better, but helping them improve their supply chain. And one day I get a phone call from their EVP, and he said, can you come and see me? I said, is this good news or bad news? And we laughed, and he said, no, it's good news, come over. So I went over to see him and met him in his office. He's about an hour away. And he walked in and he handed me an NDA and he said, would you sign this? And I said, are we getting new business? He says, just sign it. So I signed it. And he said, we're about to acquire another publicly traded company. We're going to merge these two companies together. We don't have any supply chain expertise and we need you guys to do this. And I was taken back, and he went on to say it's because not only have you helped to improve the relationship we enjoy, but you've trained our people in supply chain, not me, but our company did. And you've improved our supply chain significantly, and you are truly our supply chain partner. So I walked out of that meeting feeling pretty good about the work we had done at Weber and the growth of that business.
That's great. That's awesome. Gary, I know you've shipped some interesting things.
Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about shipping either. In 1998, when the internet, international commerce started, a compact computer that still existed called us and challenged us to create a landed cost calculator for their online international store. And we gave them a budget of $1 million and a year to complete this landed cost calculator. In the process, Compaq sold itself to HP and disavowed any investment in us, although they had given us the money because it wasn't on their books. They didn't want to talk about it. And we developed from2.com with that investment, and eventually turned it into a SoftBank investment, and now sits as part of the software that Expediter runs. But we developed the first landed cost calculator, providing last mile everywhere in the world, which was very difficult. But that was a fun 1 year worth of time understanding everybody's customs codes all over the world and how every customs worked. And so I had to travel the entire world simply to find out how customs worked. And I kept on going back to Brazil, but not because Brazil is so beautiful, but because it was very complicated. But we did it. We did it in a year, and we delivered it, and it was great.
That's fantastic. I'm sure you guys have lots of other experiences, and again, we appreciate it, and I encourage you guys to connect with each other and get to know each other a little bit better as well. And I'm sure I will see you each very soon.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks a
Mark.
lot, Mark. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Gentlemen, have a good afternoon.
You as well.
Yeah, you too, guys.